Another way to control the amount of data that's going to be printed on a page, besides page orientation or manipulating your margins, are inserting page breaks. So for example, if you have one page of data that you're printing off and you want to split it into 2 pages, well, insert a break. To go ahead and to view the page breaks and insert, remove them, or just move them around and adjust them, you want to come up here and click on the View tab, go to the Workbook Views group, and click on Page Break Preview. And there you go. There's page 1, and the page breaks are these dashed lines here. So you can see that it couldn't fit these other 2 columns here, so they're going to be on another page. What page? Well, if you look at the watermarks here, there's page 1, and there's page 2. And the reason why the watermarks aren't as large over to the right-hand side, because there's less data. If you want to go ahead and see it, I don't know if you can see it there, but come down in the lower right-hand corner and click and drag the zoom slider bar here and go in. You can see it, but that's page 1, 2, 3, 4. So when it breaks the first time, the rest is coming down here to page 2, and you can see that it splits just below Lance Boyle. If I don't want it to break below Lance Boyle, but I want to go ahead and put Lance Boyle onto page 2, I can hover over the page break until I can see arrows pointing in opposite directions and click and drag that above, and now Lance Boyle is on page 2. You can also drag that up above and, have a lot less on page 1 and more on page 2. It's up to you. In fact, let's go ahead and check it. Click on the File tab, go to Print, and there's page 1 at the bottom. There's no Lance Boyle. Let's go to page 2. He's up there at the top. Okay, let me come down here and click on the Zoom to Page, and there he is, Lance Boyle. All right, let's go ahead and go back and scroll up. You can also remove breaks, like for example here, if I hover over that page break and I want to click and drag it off, it's gone. But to make up for it, it's going to change the size of the text. When I print it off, it's going to reduce it so it can fit all into one page. So if I come up here and click on the Page Layout tab, you see in the Scale to Fit, 100% is at its full size, but because I want it all into one page, it's now at 81%, so it's going to be a lot smaller. If I go ahead and start adding it up to 100%, then you can see that that page break starts creeping back in, saying, okay, I can't deal with this. You either want to see everything on one page, in which case I got to reduce the font size, or if you want it larger, then I've got to cut it somewhere here. So like I said, you can do it that way, or you can just click next to the page break, but I can't click next to it because that cell's merged. So let me go ahead and click down one cell, and you can come up here on the Page Layout tab to the Page Setup group and click on Breaks and remove the break. And it's not going to remove it because I've already messed with it, but let's come down here and let's remove this one and see if it can remove it. And let's come up here and remove the break. Now it removed it, but only like by one row, because remember we adjusted it so Lance Boyle is on page 2. Now it removed it and included Lance Boyle back onto page 1. So okay, not much success there. We're either dealing with the breaks that allows us to either section them off more so there's more pages of data but less on each page, or we can go ahead and shrink the size of the font down from 100% and manipulate it that way, which is fine. So if I go ahead and do this, hey, look at that. I get more onto page 1 when I keep reducing it, but boy, I'm going to need a magnifying glass to be able to see it. You want to see? Click on the File tab. Let's go to Print, and let's click to zoom in. Oh, that was zooming out. Ugh. Okay, zooming in, I can't see anything. Okay. Well, you can come down below in the Print Preview and click on Custom Scaling and go to Custom Scaling Options. I mean, you can adjust it there. Besides on the Page Layout tab, and we can go back to 100% and click Okie dokie, and whew, we're back to where we were. I like that. I want to be able to see my data, and we can go ahead and go back, and it puts the breaks back where they should be here, so it can be back to 100%. Now let's go ahead and change the orientation to landscape and see what happens with the page breaks. So because it's going to be fitting more horizontally, so we get more columns, it can now fit rate and gross there. So we're just down to 2 pages. And if we want to go ahead and insert a break and say, okay, I want this much on one page and that much on another. In fact, let's click and drag that up. Let's come down here and insert a page break right there. Now when it comes to inserting page breaks, you want to be mindful of what cell you have selected, because it's going to insert breaks above and to the left-hand side. So if I go ahead and I choose, well, let me come over one more, a cell in the first column, Can it insert a vertical break to the left-hand side of column A? No, because there's nothing beyond the column A. So it's just going to insert a row break. Let me show you. If I click out in the middle of nowhere and I insert a break here, page break, like I said, it's going to insert a break to the left and up above the cell that you have selected. So let me go ahead and undo that. If I want to insert just a horizontal break or a vertical break, for a horizontal, go ahead and select any cell in the first column, but make sure it's in a cell on a row that you want to go ahead and insert the break on, because when we go ahead and insert a break, it inserts everything above and to the left-hand side. Again, there's nothing over to the left-hand side of column A, so we just get a row break. And then if I want to insert a column break, just be sure that you select any cell in the first row to make sure that we don't insert a row break, because it can't insert a break above that first row, but it can insert anything over to the left-hand side of what we have selected. Now the cell that I have is a merged cell, so all these cells are being seen as one. Well, that ain't going to work for me here if I want to insert a break right here. So let's go ahead and right-click on the cell, go down to Format, and go to the Alignment tab and unmerge by unchecking Merge Cells. And all the cells are now seen as individual cells. And Dreamforce is centered in the middle of cell A, so I don't see the Dream, just the Force LLC, until I go to the Home tab. And for the alignments, I say, okay, don't align center, but align to left-hand side. So it's left-hand side of the cell, pushes everything over. Now if I want to go ahead and insert a page break right here, so rate and gross are back on their own page, then I don't want to select any other cell than just the cell in the first row, but for that column, because remember, it's going to insert above it and to the left-hand side. So page layout, insert a break, and because there's nothing above it, there's no row break, just inserts it to the left-hand side of the cell that I have selected. Let me go ahead and, well, I was going to say undo that, but I can click on the drop-down arrow and remove the page break. But let me go ahead and insert that page break again, and let me show you that you don't have to be in the page break preview to insert breaks or remove them. It's just easier because I can see the blue lines here, as opposed to, let me show you, clicking on the View tab and going to the normal view, because you can see the breaks there. See that line there? It's not dashed because I was manipulating it in the page break preview, but if I want to remove it, I still get the same options here on the Page Layout tab. I just need to make sure that I've got the cell next to that break that I want to remove, and then I can go ahead and click on the drop-down arrow and remove it, and it's gone. Cool. And then if I want to insert it again, just be mindful of where you're inserting it, because if I select any cell, remember it's going to insert a break above the cell and to the left-hand side that I have selected. So if I do it here, ooh, that's crazy. Let's don't do that. Let's undo it or remove it, and then come back up so we can just insert a column break. Make sure you select any cell in the first row, but in the column that you want to be broken or to break, or if you want to do a row, any cell in the first column, but mindful of the row that you want to be able to split or break in between. So between rows 9 and 10, let's go ahead and insert a break there. Okay, you can see the line there. Ooh, this is going to be fun. Let's click on the File tab and go to Print, and let's click on it to zoom out. So there's page 1, 2, 3, 4 because of all the page breaks. Thanks for watching. Hey, as a quick reminder, if you like my video, please give it a thumbs up. You can also click on me and subscribe to my channel, get notified of the latest videos, and for only $2 a month, you can have access to all my Microsoft Office training videos.